Hey everybody, it is Zach here from the Ed Boys, and today we are checking out the Wilderness extension. The Wildy extension is an idea that emerged during Jagex's Gam Jam, which as far as I'm aware was a week-long, pretty much a thick brainstorm session that they had at Jagex where they pitched a lot of new ideas and kind of went hard on some of them. And they tweeted a few of those ideas, one of them being the Wilderness extension. This is just an idea on the table right now, so some of the posts will have vague parts to it where Jagex is clearly trying to fill in more before they have an official pitch of any kind. It's not even slated to be on the polls soon necessarily, it is just in the idea phase. Let's get it out of the way too. There's a lot of players that avoid the wilderness like the plague until they need to go out there for whatever reason. I have an older video that does talk about not fearing the wilderness. It discusses just not risking expensive gear and the benefits of actually being out in the wildy and whatnot. I'm not really trying to go over any of that right now. I just want to talk about the potential expansion that they've thrown out there. If you are scared of the wilderness and you do not care about wildy updates at all, well then we'll just see you in the next video. Everybody else though, let's go over some dope looking updates that they're thinking about adding to deep wilderness. Shout out to the mods that are working on this project, mods Safan, Rock, Aiza, and Goblin. I'm going to go over all these side anecdotes about the content first, and then we'll go ahead and check out the notes that they've made on the map. First, we've got the Fremenic PK NPC, OSRS's first PK NPC. I mean, I've always compared gorillas to like really weak PKers. I'm assuming these guys will react a little bit better than gorillas do. They are Fremenics and should wear Fremenic gear, skull mark that indicates them being PKers. Bro, NPCs with a skull on them, that is definitely going to scare the crap out of me plenty of times. Nordic names to keep the Fremenic culture. Note, mages need to fit with lunar, and Fremenics don't like magic, so probably not going to be the best PKers if they're not really into the magic life. The Wilderness City, apparently Skalavik is what they're going to be calling it. This will be a safe area that they're adding to the map too. It's not only going to be extended dangerous places. There'll be a little bit of a safe spot to hang out in before you go do some of this new content. It's a city of exiled Fremenics who traveled north by sea and built their own city in the deep wild. I mean, exiled Fremenics, I guess, could end up using magic more and not those lunar spells, so those PKing NPCs could be pretty solid. The Ents of Stalker Island are responsible for the area's greenery. When the Fremenics arrived, the Ents were the main source for wood to build their city. Bro, the Ents getting a little bit of love. The resource area was the main source of raw materials, and that is why they fenced it in and only allow certain people to enter, so we're getting a second resource area. To survive in the wilderness, Fremenics have traveled here, discovered PKing, and become PKers themselves to survive against adventures in the wilderness. And then the Enchanted Lyre can be upgraded in the city via the Wilderness Extension activities to add a teleport to the area. So there's going to be something you can do in the city to have a teleport on your Enchanted Lyre. I like the idea of having a teleport on an item like the Lyre, which is really not used that much. 3 new bosses, this says. Wait a minute. First, we'll start with Vulku. Looks like they're adding another dragon. Located at the Deathfire Volcano. Sounds very intense. We count towards Red Dragon tasks. Higher GP an hour than Vorkath, excuse me. Honestly, it should be high GP an hour if we got to hang out in the wilderness to do it. High risk, high reward, you know. Gated entrance consists of coins or KC. It's going to be multi-combat, potential drop table, which is to be decided. We'll have a Deathfire Visage, upgrade to the Dragonfire shields. I don't know exactly what kind of an upgrade, probably just straight up stats upgrade. Or if they had a unique mechanic to it, I imagine we already would have heard about that. The Lava Visage, it's like a Serpentine Visage, but the helm slots with regular fire protection charge. Oh, dude, a helm slot that can count as your fire protection? You have to charge it with Vulku Essence, so that'll mean the essence that this boss drops should always have a little bit of value to it. Vulcan's Bow is an upgrade to the Dark Bow, spews lava and applies Burn. Burn is the same as Poison, but is removed with anti-fire protection. Charge it with Vulku Essence. That removed with anti-fire protection makes it sound like this boss will probably inflict Burn on you. We only have a couple of, like, afflictions. We have Poison, we have Venom. I guess there's now Corruption, but Burn would be an interesting one to add on. Thameron's Lava attachment combined with the Thameron's Scepter, which is the one wilderness weapon that I've never used. They give it a chargeable lava spell that applies Burn. Charge it with Lava and Wrath runes and Vulku Essence. I wonder if that spell will make that like actually a pretty thick staff upgrade, and it'll make it kind of useful for potentially something that already exists in the Wildy, or some of these new bosses. That staff could be really powerful, I guess. This Red Dragon boss looks really cool. It looks like it's going to be comparable to Vorkath, but I imagine it's not going to be a private instance like Vorkath is, so that you probably can get PK'd while you're fighting it, which ought to be really fun. Next, we have Skull, the Skull Golem boss. First of all, this guy looks really sick. Level 912. Skull was an attempt at creating a dangerous thrall. Skull the Thrall, I see. By a Fremenic outcast that wanted to experiment with magic, they gained access to the Archaeus magic. Oh, okay, so honestly, we could see those Fremenic PC, or those Fremenic PKing NPCs have like ancient spells and whatnot on them. The summon was successful. They did not want to follow the master's commands. No one knows what happened to the outcast. Dead. The boss counts as an undead, and potential drops are a lunar upgrade to the Thammaron Scepter, and it makes it auto-cast lunar. Also want to wait for this boss to drop something that combines wilderness rings and DK rings to create upgrades. Ooh, ring upgrades, very interesting. Imagine him as a Dark Souls-esque skull/bone golem. Somebody at Jagex headquarters has been playing a lot of Elden Ring. Honestly, this is a pretty cool looking boss too. Both these bosses so far interesting on paper. I'd like to see where they kind of pan out. Next, we have a PK quest, Scold Up. This is not quite the third boss. They didn't really order this perfectly, but we'll get through it. This is a safe novice quest. I assume by safe, they mean you won't actually be in the wilderness at any point. The goal of this quest is to introduce you to the lore of the Skalavik, the first city in Galenor that has NPCs who are PKers. So wait, I wonder if in the safe city you can get attacked by the NPCs that are PKers. Like, the idea is that it's safe in there, you couldn't get attacked by other players, but maybe these NPCs are still going to be dangerous. Your goal in the quest is to help out a young Fremennik who wants to grow up and become a PKer. He'll ask you to visit various locations for more information, as well as returning to Lunar Isle and the desert to help him learn about lunar and ancient magics. Most definitely these PK NPCs are going to be using ancient magics on you. The quest will then ask you to bring Matthias a few items that you can continue his dream of becoming a PKer. At the end of the quest, you'll face off against a strong PKer, Alicia, where you will need to win 3 safe death battles in order to show Matthias how to PK. The rewards to be decided. Looks like just kind of a PKing set. So a little bit of a PKing quest added in there. Alright, here we go for that third boss. The first OSRS world boss. A powerful corrupted foe has escaped from God War's dungeon. Level 2500 with 60,000 hit points. Excuse me? Spawns in multiple different possible locations. Rough location is announced 5 minutes before spawn within Wildy. It'll be announced again once it's spawned and when it is killed. So you get to see where it's going to be 5 minutes beforehand, right as it spawns. Once when it dies, you can turn off those notifications. Potential drop table, best in slot PvP upgrades to God War's dungeon weapons that can only be used in the wilderness. Oh, alright, so PvP items, but they would be upgrades to God War's dungeon weapons, meaning that those God War's dungeon weapons might get a little bit more demand from them, making those prices potentially go up. Potentially buffs that would work within the wilderness. Rest is to be decided and current ideas can be changed. And then the picture we have here says just a placeholder model would be unique. So they didn't have a name in here at all. They're not trying to make it actually like the Chaos Elemental. This is just the model that they put in there for now. And it looks like they only have a couple ideas for the potential drops from this world boss. But instead of just like both the other two bosses, the dragon and the big skull golem, they seemed like they still would be high-level bosses, but this looks like it's going to be like a giant group boss. Artifact Escort. 10 escorts around in wilderness. What is this? Buy artifacts from any of the artifact NPCs. They will assign you an NPC at random to deliver to. So you grab an artifact from these guys and you gotta deliver it to somebody. They're dropped upon death. You cannot use any form of transportation while you have one. Oh, so you have to run them to someone? Artifacts are always dropped upon death and converted to the same amount of coins that you bought one for in the ground. So in general, people or PKers are going to be trying to hunt folks that have artifacts. Get rewarded upon successful transporting the artifact to the requested NPC. Rewards shops, again, to be decided. All the rewards are very much just ideas on it. The small safe pouch works like a looting bag, but would not be dropped upon death. Likewise, you can only take stuff out of the bag at the bank, and it only works in the wilderness. You cannot store stackable items in your safe pouch. Pouch can be upgraded to medium and large, holding 2, 4, or 6 items. So, if it can only hold up to 6 items, it's saying you don't drop it on death. You're telling me this safe pouch, you just get to keep up to 6 more items if you have it? Am I reading that correctly? That sounds insane. I can hear PKers crying about this already, bro. Fine by me, though, I guess. I am not a PKer, and I really don't know the balance of it. It might be like a pain in the ass to obtain one. All they're saying here is I gotta deliver some artifacts, but we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and look at some spots on the map. First of all, checking out the city of Skalavik. A one-way travel to Relica, can't travel from Relica to here. So you can leave from Skalavik pretty easy. Here's the tele spot that they talked about. You could add to your enchanted lyre, so you will be able to teleport here and then travel back to Relica pretty easily. It says that it is safe inside the fence, so you're not going to be able to be PK'd once you're inside the fence. Who knows about how those NPCs will work exactly. We got a bank, a prayer spot, a general store. It's like a weak Ferox enclave, I guess. Down here, this is a safe transport to Skull Island, which you can see right over to your left. Skull Island is where they're going to have the Skull Golem boss. It says Skull Fence, you are unable to trade other players here, so they won't let you trade once you're in there. Probably in an attempt to avoid teams from just being able to like really camp the boss and like nobody else can get in there and try it because one team Is just camping it that hard? I don't know. The bank's right here. Is it really that big of a deal to like safe travel to the bank, get your stuff, and go back? We'll see exactly. We're moving a little bit east. You can see the island of Stoker, however exactly they say it. This is the island that has magic Ents. Ents are the reason for the growth here. So apparently these Ents are the reason that there's any grass and any trees around here. Honestly, Ents do not get enough love. Even I've given them some love, but I don't give them enough love. I love the Ents. I had worked on a goofy idea for a potential end boss that I never really put the video out because I didn't really make a complete video on it, but it looks like they're already way ahead of me in adding more love for the Ents. Just a little south of this, we have Resource Area 2. Doubled or even triple resources with no increase to XP rates. To get access, you need to do stuff around the Wildy, find a key, or get enough tokens. This is all work in progress ideas. They probably would have somebody who can note your stuff, or like, I don't know, if you got triple resources and you had to bank and have a new key every time, that could be a pain. We'll see exactly how that's balanced out for sure. Over here, what do we got? The Bridge of Fate. Past this bridge, combat levels doesn't matter. Oh, wait a minute. Let's zoom back out on this map a little bit more. Looks like for most of this extended wilderness area, the idea is your combat level doesn't matter at all. This would be above level like 50 wilderness, so your combat level wasn't going to matter a ton, but I mean, if you're level 30 and you can be attacked by level 126s, that's pretty rough. Gonna move a little bit east. The Rat Enclave with a rat boss. Hold on, we got even a fourth boss coming in hot. A rat riding a rat that swapped weapons and uses overhead prayers. Single area, and the boss is made to intimidate PK. I was gonna say this is another PKing NPC. We have our world's second PKing NPC. Potential drop table to be decided. The Rat Pack, an item that transmogs you into a rat for 3 seconds and creates 2 decoy rats running in 2 different directions. Item disappears upon use and have X cooldown, so you can just use them over and over. The decoy disappears after 1 hit. Ooh, that's a very interesting way to be able to escape. Turn into 3 rats, and they have to... You really only get a few squares out of this, but I don't know, this might make the difference in some escapes. There could be some really cool uses out of it. Next, we have the Stun Javelin. Stuns a target for 2 ticks with a 1-minute cooldown. Wilderness only. Stunning will make you scold if attacking a non-scold player. So if you use it on just some poor, lonely guy that's bossing in the wilderness, it does skull you. But if you use it to fight back, you don't gain a skull. And then rat slippers, dude. You know it. We got mole slippers. Why not rat slippers? And we're going to move back up a little bit north. We have the Deathfire Volcano. That's where that dragon boss, Vulku's going to be. This is the red dragon boss. You also got some red dragon spawns. I see a Zamorakian temple over here. I wonder exactly what's going to be there. They haven't really said much about that as far as I can tell. Moving further east, I'm first going to check out this Skull Impling. An untradeable Impling. Untradeable, oh, okay, excuse me. I was definitely thinking this was going to be like another mini boss. This is an Impling, like something you would catch with Hunter. 78 Hunter, barehanded 88. The rewards could be Black Chinchompa, Alarin's Key, Lava Dragon Bones, plus more. Also, Ring of Fate has 5 teleport charges, breaks upon last use, and teleports to Skalavik. Alright, doesn't seem like incredibly useful. It would just be some things that could be decent cash, and they probably won't be like insanely rare. Moving a little bit more east, we have Bounty Hunter Island. Teleport here from Skalavik. A mini game that rewards work like the old Bounty Hunter, potentially some elements of King of the Hill. Yo, dude, are they actually talking about Bounty Hunter rework? Up north, we have the Corrupted Revenant Ruins multi-combat area. The caves are locked to begin with. This resets each month, excuse me. The caves are connected to the resource area via channel magic energy. So you get here through the resource area, which already requires like a key to get into. Activity in the resource area generates energy, which is used to power the connection with the Corrupted Remnant Cave. Oh, so you have to do stuff in the resource area to have access to this area, which is going to reset each month. Once enough energy is granted, the cave unlocks, which is world-specific. Oh, so you can unlock it in multiple worlds, too. That way, PKers can't just unlock it once and just have every world. 3 entrances, only 1 open at a time. This changes every X minutes. All exits are functional. Okay, so you can get out any of the 3 entrances, but only 1 of them can you get in at a time. It's not like incredibly dangerous. They've made some ways where it's a little bit more difficult to get PK'd in there. Corrupted Rev caves have improved loot than standard Rev caves and require the potential 150k fee to enter, which is lost on death. Wow, this is actually kind of a big one. Corrupted Revenant Ruins. This could be very interesting. Requires like a little bit of skilling to get in there. That's just to unlock it for 1 world, and then it's not always like free to get in there with the different entrances and whatnot necessarily. 150k actually to enter. Yeah, that seems very interesting. And one more thing that I kind of missed over here in the southwest. Looks like they're looking to put a Wilderness Agility Course expansion. That would be level 75, something like Sears XP rates, working like the Agility Pyramid. So Honestly, the agility pyramid is not too bad, especially for Iron Men to get a little bit of cash. And then it ends up being like 30k agility XP an hour, which is not too bad. But if this was more like 50k agility XP an hour and made some cash, that would be an interesting extension to the Wilderness course. They probably would not only make it level 75, but probably locked behind some other Wilderness content. A lot of these extension ideas do seem really cool. I mean, everything seems cool until you're out there getting PK'd, but there also seems to be a little bit more content to get you into PKing a little bit, and as somebody who doesn't do any PKing, I still do find that very interesting. I would love to check this out more as they have more ideas on this and it potentially gets into the game, but I don't think that's going to be too soon down the road. We'll see what Jagex is going for, though. This was one of the big things that they announced at their Game Jam week, so I don't see why they would just drop it after the one announcement. We probably will hear more about it in the somewhat near future. I mean, on that note, on the note of Wilderness updates in general, they've talked about reworking the other Wildy bosses many times, and they've officially been saying that, like, this year they will be doing that. I feel like every year we've kind of heard that they might be doing it, but it looks like they're potentially attempting to give some big updates to the Wilderness, and I think all these sounded really cool. The biggest ones, I like the Red Dragon boss. I like bosses in general, I guess, because the Skull Golem is pretty cool. But that World boss seems really interesting. Something with 60,000 health is just going to require constant mass worlds doing it. And if you can get PK'd while you do it, oh man, it's just going to turn into clans overrunning it, huh? That's potentially going to be the case with a lot of this stuff, though. They looked like they were trying to mess with that with, like, the Skull Golem. You couldn't trade with other people when you're in there, so not as much teamwork. I don't know. We'll see exactly where this turns out. Again, it's just an idea on the table for now, and I do think the idea seems pretty cool, so I thought that I would take a look over it. That's about it, though, everybody. If you enjoyed this look at the potential Wilderness extension, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more content. I do stream on Twitch, which should be linked on the screen and in the description. I am also on Twitter and have a Discord, which are linked in the description. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and best of luck on your grinds, Wilderness or not.